Hey Denchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and welcome to my review of the third studio EP from American DJ duo Krewella. This one is called Ammunition. Now this is Krewella's first big project since the departure of Rain Man back just a couple years ago, who was the main producer for the Play Hard and Play Harder EPs as well as their debut album Get Wet. And let's be honest, Krewella has a lot of haters. Their blatantly sexual and in-your-face lyrics have both been helpful and hurtful to their careers. And throughout all of that, I haven't necessarily disliked Krewella. Maybe I did a little bit at the very beginning, but as soon as Cash and Krewella collabed on Live for the Night, I was pretty much hooked. And I honestly really liked the Get Wet album as well. I just thought it was really energetic, playful, and although it was kind of the standard sounds of EDM, they kind of brought the little punk vibes that I feel like I needed for a long time while transitioning from my punk rock phase into the EDM scene. So am I a Krewella fan? I definitely am. And was I sad to see Rain Man leave? Of course I was. He was a great producer and he was behind some of their biggest hits, including Killin' It, which was their big Monster Cat debut. Not too long after Rain Man left, they released the single Say Goodbye, which was a really hard drum and bass track that was produced by Pegboard Nerds for them, along with, I think it was Kilogram. And I was pretty much in love with that track. I really loved the just super intense and violent vocals they were getting toward about Rain Man. And because of that single, some of the lyrical themes on this EP aren't doing as much for me as they would have if that single wasn't dropped, because there are at least two tracks, including Broken Record and Can't Forget You, that are clearly heavily centered toward their past with Rain Man. And it seems a little overwhelming at times, which is one of the main downfalls about this EP. The other major downfall being that the tracks that were produced by Andrew Goldstein aren't necessarily the most memorable. They just kind of sound like pop EDM, and I'm not really into what these are bringing to the table. The rest of the tracks I didn't really have anything against, and I didn't even have anything against those two. They were just the least memorable for me on the EP. On the other hand, we get the trap EDM duo Discord producing on both Beggars and Broken Record, which were two of my favorite tracks on this, and I'd love to see them form some kind of supergroup because of how good this is, some kind of four-person group with Discord and Krewella. And I love Get Wet, so obviously with the more playful and energetic and steamy, Beggars is obviously going to be one of my favorites on this one. It's just absolutely mind-blowing all over the place. It's got a sick trap drop. Probably one of the better vocal appearances I've seen Krewella do too. Once again, very in-your-face and violent through the entire thing. With the EDM scene, people typically play it pretty safe, but I love that Krewella has continuously stepped past those boundaries and pushed for something that was really unprecedented in the EDM scene. Surrender the Throne here is kind of the spiritual successor to their single Somewhere to Run, which was a little bit more glitch hop oriented, I guess I'd say. That one was produced by Pegboard Nerds and Linkin Park producer Don Gilmore, who also come back to produce on this track and make a really sweet drum and bass tune, which serves to probably be one of the better tunes on the record. And of course, as a big fan of the Pegboard Nerds, I'm probably going to be digging this sound as well. And then the EP closes off with Can't Forget You, which, if you remember my review from Steven's debut album Sincerely, Steven comes back to produce on this song, and it works really well. You can definitely hear his influence on this track. It just sounds really good, and it makes a really awesome closer. Like I said, the main downfalls of this EP are where just a couple tracks aren't extremely memorable and a little bit too much Rain Man wordplay here and there with their lyricism. But overall, honestly, I think this made a really good EP, and it's very different from anything Krewella has done before. Only in a couple spots they're kind of keeping that very in-your-face style that we got on Get Wet, which is kind of saddening, but it's also interesting to see them move in a different direction, which is a bit more diverse and didn't make for a bad EP at all. This one I'm really digging. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a solid 7. If you guys have listened to this, let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you haven't listened to it, I'm gonna have the Spotify link in the description so that you guys can hear it and let me know what you think at some later point. Anyway, I'm Landon Remixes. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you later. Peace.